Jack was sitting on the porch rail, turning a car key over in his fingers. Not starting the car, just turning it, metal clicking softly against his thumbnail. Mary was watering the potted basil by the steps. The leaves smelled sharp in the warm air. Jack held the key up between his fingers. "You know," he said, "this thing used to mean something simple." Mary kept watering. "Turn it," Jack continued, "and the car wakes up. You steer, you brake, you get where you're going." He looked out toward the driveway. "That's the agreement." Mary set the watering can down and wiped her hands on a towel. Jack nodded toward the neighbor's house. "Frank down the street got one of those cars now?" Mary glanced over. "The ones that drive themselves?" "That's the one." Jack leaned back against the porch post. "Now that sentence right there, that sentence made my shoulders tense up." Mary smiled a little. Jack rubbed the key between his fingers again. "I asked him, 'So what do you do while he's driving?'" Mary sat in the chair beside the door.
"What did he say?" Jack shrugged. "He said you just sit there." Jack let that sit in the air a moment. "Just sit there." A dog barked somewhere down the block. Jack continued. "He takes me for a ride to show me. We get in the car and the thing lights up like a pinball machine. Screens everywhere. Little lines on the road glowing like the car's thinking." Mary listened quietly. "And then Frank says, 'Watch this.'" Jack lifted one hand and held it out like he was letting go of something. "He takes his hands off the wheel." Jack's eyebrows lifted slightly. "And the car keeps going." Mary rocked once in her chair. Jack shook his head slowly. "Now, I tried to be reasonable. I really did." He pointed the key toward the driveway. "I told myself, Jack, it's probably like cruise control, just a little smarter." He paused. "But then the car started making decisions." Mary looked at him. "What kind of decisions?" Jack leaned forward. "Well, it slowed down before a corner." He lifted his hand slightly. "Before Frank even touched the brake." Jack frowned thoughtfully. "And it changed lanes all on its own." Mary raised an eyebrow. Jack nodded. "Smooth, too. I'll give it that." He tapped the key against the railing. "But I noticed something." Mary waited. Jack stared out at the road for a long moment before speaking. Frank wasn't looking at the road anymore. The porch got quiet. Jack rested his elbows on his knees. He was looking at his phone. Mary's rocking slowed. Jack spoke softer now. "And I realized the car was paying attention." He let out a slow breath. That felt strange. The wind moved through the trees across the yard. Jack rubbed the key again. "I'm not saying it's bad," he said gently. "I'm sure it's helpful. Maybe safer, too." He nodded once. "It just felt different." Mary looked toward the road. Jack continued. "I guess I've always thought driving was one of those small agreements between you and the world." He gestured toward the street. "You watch the road watches you back." He smiled faintly. "You feel the wheel in your hands, the bumps in the pavement, the way the engine sounds when it's working a little harder on a hill." Jack turned the key one more time. "I'm not sure when that started feeling important." He paused. "Maybe it just happened slowly." Mary leaned back in her chair. After a moment, she said, "Did you make it home all right?" Jack looked at her and chuckled quietly. "Oh yeah," he said. "We got home." He glanced toward the driveway again. "Car did a fine job." Mary nodded. They sat there a while, listening to the evening cicadas starting up in the trees. Jack slipped the key into his pocket. After a moment, he said softly, "I still think I like knowing whose hands are on the wheel."